Welcome to Perspectives with Avery. In this video I'll be laying out my reasoning for saying that Trump is a misogynist. Only a misogynist would talk about women the way he does. Only a misogynist would demean women. Only a misogynist would consider looks more important than character and intelligence. I'll provide the definition of misogyny and also examples of why I say he is a misogynist. If you enjoy this video, click like, subscribe and ring that notification bell. Share your comments below and please share this video. Now, let's get to work. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines misogyny as hatred of women, aversion to or prejudice against women. Very Well Mind is an American organization whose mission is to, quote, help you prioritize your mental health and find balance, unquote. According to them, misogynists punish women for challenging male dominance. It may be rooted in sexism, but it is not the same as sexism and is often used to describe extreme violence towards women. Very Well Mind lists 11 examples of misogyny, including, but definitely not restricted to, catcalling or harassing women, expressing a strong belief in rigid traditional gender roles, displaying no respect or regard for a woman's time or effort, and frequently interrupting women when they are speaking. Trump exhibits very many of the traits of misogynists, so let's look at some examples. Apart from murder, I can't think of a more violent way of treating a woman than to sexually assault her, to rape her. ABC News lists 18 women who allege sexual assault committed by Trump. The most infamous of those would be the E. Jean Carroll case, in which Carroll alleged a sexual assault by Trump in dressing room 23 of the Bergdorf Goodman department store in New York City. Trump said that he couldn't have sexually assaulted her because, quote, she's not my type, unquote. Typical of misogynists, Trump didn't attack the allegation. Instead, he attacked her, accusing her of lying for personal gain, insulting her appearance and her intelligence. He constantly defamed her on TV and radio, and when she filed a defamation lawsuit against him, he claimed that the lawsuit was frivolous and fraudulent. The jury didn't agree and awarded her around $5 million. Even after being found liable for defaming her, he didn't stop the defamation, repeating many of the same statements about her. A second defamation lawsuit was filed and again he lost, this time costing him around $83 million. As the world's smartest man, according to him of course, you'd think he'd learn his lesson, but he hasn't, because even now he is still insulting and attacking her. Do I smell another more expensive loss in his future? A possibly less well-known allegation was that made in 2020, about 7 weeks before the presidential election, by Amy Dorris. I'll let you hear what she had to say in her own words.
Turn now to that new accusation of sexual assault against President Trump by a former model who says he forcibly kissed and groped her at the U.S. Open tennis tournament back in 1997. Chief National Affairs correspondent Tom Yamas is at Trump Tower with more on this. Good morning, Tom.
Cecilia, good morning to you. The accuser in this case says she came to New York in 1997 with her then boyfriend, who was close with Donald Trump. She says the future president would force himself upon her outside the restroom of his VIP box at the U.S. Open, aggressively kissing her and groping her.
And he just grabbed me and he just shoved his tongue down my throat and I was pushing him off, and then that's when his grip became tighter and his hands were kind of like very gropey and all over, my butt, my breasts, my back, like everything.
The stable genius is such a smart man that he even boasts about sexually assaulting women.
I moved on her and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
It's huge news there.
No, Nancy.
Yeah.
No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch. But I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Pull the ham.
A typical trait of a misogynist is frequent interruption of a woman when she's speaking. Here's one example from many of Trump interrupting Hillary Clinton during a 2016 presidential debate.
Well, here we go again. I've been in favor of getting rid of carried interest for years, starting when I was a senator from New York. But that's not the point here.
Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it?
Because I was a senator with a Republican president.
Oh, really?
I will be the
you
president.
You could have done it. If you were an effective, senator, you could have done it. If you were an effective senator, you could have done it. But you were not an effective.
Please allow her to
senator.
respond. She didn't interrupt you.
Vox, quoting a New York Times article, cites other examples of Trump's bigotry and misogyny. Quote, "The accusations in the Times' expose, some denied by Trump and some not, are damning," unquote. Carrie Prejean, a former Miss California, recalled Trump ordering contestants to line up in revealing outfits so that he could, quote, "divide the room between the girls he personally found attractive and those he did not. Some of the girls were sobbing backstage after he left," unquote. Barbara Reyes, a former head of construction for Trump, says he would needle her for gaining weight, saying, quote, "You like your candy," unquote. In 1996, Jill Harth alleged in court that the defendant Trump, over the plaintiff's objections, forcibly prevented the plaintiff from leaving and forcibly removed the plaintiff to a bedroom, whereupon defendant Trump subjected plaintiff to defendant's unwanted sexual advances, which included touching of plaintiff's private parts in an act constituting attempted rape. That's unquote. Trump has also said, quote, "Women, you have to treat them like shit," unquote. He declared that Rosie O'Donnell, quote, "is disgusting inside and out. Take a look at her. How does she even get on TV? If I were running The View, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers and say, 'Rosie, you're fired.' We're all a little bit chubby, but she's worse than most of us." I'll leave you with these thoughts. I don't believe that Trump actually hates women, but I also don't think that he truly loves or respects them, unless they bend the knee and bow to his will, and even then he'd throw them under the bus if it suited his purposes. He treats women the way he treats everyone else, something to be used and discarded when they're no longer useful to him. He seems to think that he is God's gift to women, that all women find him sexually attractive, and that all women want to jump into bed with him. How any woman can look at him and find him attractive or think that he truly values them is beyond all rational comprehension. His disdain for women is such that when Ivana, the mother of three of his children, died, he had her buried on his Bedminster golf course. No headstone, no memorial, and he rarely even has the grass over her grave mowed. He said of former Republican presidential hopeful Carly Fiorina, quote, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president?" unquote. His character is that of a man who fears women, particularly strong, intelligent women, which is why we hear a barrage of insults levied by him against Vice President Harris, saying such things as, quote, "She's low IQ. She's suddenly turned black. She's incompetent. She's a lowlife. She lied about working for McDonald's," or "everything else she has touched has turned to shit," unquote. Even worse from his bigoted point of view is that she isn't a blonde, blue-eyed woman who fawns over him. He lacks the intelligence to address what she actually says, so he resorts to his favourite tactic, insulting, demeaning speech, denigrating her intelligence and achievements. He is unfit to hold any office, most particularly that of the President of the United States. He's a disgusting, disgraceful example of a man who deserves to spend the rest of his sad life paying for his many crimes in prison. Lastly, if you are a woman facing misogyny, or you are a man who sees misogyny taking place, don't ignore it. Very Well Mind says that if you see it at work, report it. If you are being victimized, leave the situation. Support and uplift women. Work to become more aware and to raise awareness of the damaging effects of misogyny and how it leads to punishment of women who challenge the patriarchal status quo. Lastly, care for yourself by practicing self-care and relaxation strategies to deal with the stress that misogyny can cause. If you like what I have to say, please hit like, subscribe and ring that notification bell. Comments, positive and negative, are welcome. Add them below and I'll do my best to respond. Thank you.